Hello, and welcome to the Sales Growth Showcase, where we share insights for some of today's top sales leaders so that you can make more money and feel more connected to your customers. I am joined today by Cyan Mookherjee. And Cyan, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you briefly tell us a little bit about who you are and how you impact others?
Hey, thanks for hosting me actually. So I run this organization called 221B Baker Street. And what we try to do is just always 221B Baker Street is being said as from the Sherlock's point of view. But actually, when you read the novels, those are being written by Dr. Watson, his accomplice. So it divides in two parts. The first part, we try to find out organizations who have the potential to buy the products or the services of our clients. So we first find out organizations who have the intent to buy those products or the services. That's where the Sherlock part comes into the picture. And the Dr. Watson part comes into the picture where we actually customize every marketing pitch which goes across to the potential prospects or the potential decision makers of those organizations itself, whom we have found out they have the intent to buy the product. And we do that by customizing completely what they're posting on their social media. I'm talking about the official social media on LinkedIn, on their blogs, or on their official Twitter handles and things like that. And that increases the readability of the messages which we are going to send them across since they're extremely customized based on their posts. So combining this two, that's one of the business divisions of 221B Baker Street is all about.
Sounds like you are certainly working hard to help us be more successful at sales. So my first question for you is, based on everything that's going on, how are you and your team at 221 Baker Street, specifically, what are you doing to try to grow your sales today, other than create incredible technology? Beyond that, what are some things you're trying to do?
I believe that with this entire pandemic, so the physical face-to-face meeting has gone down completely. So what we are trying to do and promote is virtual selling. Now, with this virtual selling, there are a lot of advantages are there. The first advantage is that you don't have to travel anymore. Second advantage is that you save a lot of time itself. And the third part is that since you're doing a lot of virtual selling, you can do a lot of work in a very short period of time. And that's exactly what we are assisting our customers, some of the major customers, like PayScale is one of our major customers. And once the merger has happened with PayFactors, that has really boosted our business a lot, actually. So what we are trying to do is they don't have to travel. So if they tell us that, hey, this is the geography you guys have to go after, they don't have to travel to any more seminars or those road shows or whatever it used to happen. What we are assisting them to do is simply finding out the right people, match them up, get them into a conversation, and making it into a more of a conversation kind of a thing, making just not making sales the way sales was being heard of or having that like angle of it. We're making sales much more intelligent. We're making sales much more conversation mode, which was not happening. It was more of a canned mode, which was happening. We are trying to make it more humane. We're trying to make sales a much more cooler job. Uh, yeah, that's what I can say.
Right. Making sales cool. I love that. And that certainly lends to another one of the questions that I have is really around how you see this virtual paradigm has created opportunity for sales teams. So you talked about the ability that because I don't have to travel, I have more time. But can you give me a little bit more specifics on what other opportunities you see for sales teams now beyond the just not having to travel?
Sure. So apart from the field sales part, because that's something which you can't really deal with, like apart from that thing, it increases the recruitment of, especially in the case of the B2B hemisphere, it improves and increases the potential to hire the right candidates from multiple locations itself. I see that as a big opportunity because uh, there has been reasons many times we said that, hey, you know what, you're not working from this location, can't hire you. We need somebody who's going to be working from this location itself. that improves dramatically, that increases dramatically. And most importantly, I feel that trust is a very important factor when you're doing virtual selling. I strongly believe that if you have been able to really do a virtual sell to somebody, I feel that they will have a more probability to stay with you as a customer. The reason is very simple, because as you're not meeting with that person, either that person has understood your product greatly or has not understood it at all, actually. So I'm sure the leaders are much more intelligent, and they have definitely gone through all the pros and cons of your product and have trusted on you, have entrusted your product or the services completely virtually itself. So I believe that the customers will be staying more with you in this process rather than, but maybe face to face. Sometimes people might go away with some other factors and things like that. With this method, I believe that that's going to be the case. The customers are going to stay with you more.
I appreciate the insights. It certainly sounds like there is a great deal of opportunity for sales teams in this new paradigm. But let's look at it from the other side. What do you see as, maybe specifically to you and your teams there at 2021 Baker Street, what is one of the biggest challenges that you're running into since going entirely virtual?
I will be very honest about it. We have been going virtual for years. Like since the inception of this organization, we have been completely working on the virtual selling mode. But yes, I would give you some very specific examples. So I had a couple of really top four real estate legal firms as my client when I traveled to New York, and it was much more easier closing them because why? Because first of all, real estate legal, it's a bit old school kind of a thing. I'm not saying that entirely like that, but it's a bit old school thing. So in that case, it's more important for you to go and travel and make them understand that what exactly we are trying to achieve and things like that. However, due to this mode of selling has come up, sometimes the virtual selling doesn't work for them. I'm talking about increasing my potential customers. So I believe that in some of the cases for core industry verticals might be a bit of hindrance, but however, I have my clients who have their core industry verticals as their potential customers. It has been easier for us to really get hold of them and get hold of the chief procurement officers through the virtual mode of selling, because they that has been more of an advantage for us, to be very honest. I've not faced much of an disadvantage in this fashion, to be very honest.
Right. Well, that's great to hear, and great the way that you've been preparing for this without knowing it. You've been preparing for this change
Absolutely,
for
yes.
quite some
Yeah.
time. So, given that, hypothetically, you meet a new leader, somebody that's fairly new to sales, and they ask you for one nugget of advice which would help them feel more confident in this new role. What is one thing that you would count on that you want to pass along to them?
If it's only one, I'm going to say that know your product thoroughly. That's the only nugget of advice I'm going to give it, because I'm going to give you an example. So, how do we find out the intent of an organization to buy that product? It's simply because we go through that product very thoroughly of our customers. We find the features of all of those products of which my customer is working upon, and then we try to map those features with the potential buyers of that product itself. That's only possible if you know your product very, very well inside out itself. So for those reasons, I would only say that it's more important for you guys to know your product thoroughly, and that gives you the confidence. That gives you the confidence to know, to really work upon. That gives you the confidence when you're talking with your potential customer as well.
Right. Well, Cyan, you certainly have shared quite a bit with us that we really appreciate. As we wrap up, do you have some sales leaders or folks in your life that that you believe would be able to share great insights like you have that I should connect with and ask to be on the show?
Certainly. I feel that you should connect with Noel Coleman. He was previously heading the entire sales for Doctor.com. Then Doctor.com got acquired by Press-Ganey. I'm sure you guys have heard about Press-Ganey. So, and after Press-Ganey, now he has moved on to a different role, I believe, being a chief resource officer. So I believe that you guys can certainly go ahead and have a word with Noel Coleman.
Well, we will certainly do that. And Cyan Mookherjee, thank you so much for being on the Sales Growth Showcase, sharing your insights with us so that we can all continue to grow and get stronger and better in this new sales paradigm. Wish you the best of success. Thanks for being here.
I wish you the success of this show as well. Thank you so much for hosting me.
Take care.